So they got Snowfall beat, they got Palace Pier beat, they got Adair beat, they got Mishriff beat. But how did Champions Day go for Star Sports, and how did the Champions League go with all the English teams winning? Two of them in very dramatic 3-2 fashion. We also have Rory McIlroy back among winning ways. We've other stuff to talk about as well, including Luxembourg in what was the old Racing Post Trophy on Saturday. How are you, Flynn Goward?
I'm very well, thank you. We've just moved into the new office here at Star HQ, so slightly different setup. I do apologise if it sounds like there this week. It'll probably be improved next week once we get the mics kind of installed. But we're a new Star HQ. It's great to get back on track with the boss at Champions Day at the weekend, and very much looking forward to getting to Cheltenham tomorrow.
What was Ascot like, actually? What was the crack like there? Good crowd, good atmosphere, good punting?
Really good crowd, really good punting. I reckon it was about between 20 and 25,000 at Ascot. So really, really good crowd. It felt really vibey again. It's the first time I've been on track since the kind of pandemic's been in. It's felt really buzzy. It felt like a proper meeting, which was really good to see. It was great to see the punters back out in force. Just to spin through the card in terms of how it went for us. We also had Trushan in the first race. That was
and
a good
Trushan,
result.
who I omitted to mention as well. So you've got 5 fairly short price horses beaten there.
We did. We thought it was going to go better than it actually did. It was really good in the office, but in terms of us on the pitch, it wasn't great. It was going really well up until later on in the card, which you'll obviously find out now. Trushan was a good result in the pitch, but a bad one in the office, as you would imagine. The punters on the track wanted to be with the old boy Stradivarius at around the 4-1 mark. We thought it was a great run from the second place horse, actually Tashcan, at a big price. Tony Calvin actually put him up on Twitter, didn't he? So fair play to him. Ran really, really well into second. But Trushan was the winner there for Holly Doyle. And if you haven't seen the documentary on Holly Doyle, do check that out. It was on ITV in the week. It was a really good watch. I don't know if you saw it, Johnny.
No, I didn't. I'm actually away at the moment, but it's probably quite topical as well in terms of, I don't know, it's not a great time for the sport in terms of its image with regard to quality and so forth.
Yeah, I feel like we've said that quite a lot recently, Johnny, over the last trader chats over the last year or so. It's not a great time for the sport. It's not the best time, is it? When we are continuing saying this, we have the Gordon Elliott saga, we've got the Bryony Frost saga, we've got the Holly Doyle saga. You got Frankie Dettori calling out young jockeys when he's probably not done anything wrong. Got O'Shea Murphy going on, and then we've got the whole shake business as well. So plenty going on the racing front. But let's try and stick to the race. I'm sure we'll get stuck in some of those topics at some point. So that was the first race on the card. So good on the pitch, bad in the office. Creative Force was another good result on the pitch, even though it did shorten up into the 11-2 mark, but was poor in the office again. Snowfall was the result of the day for the firm. 250,000 laid at 8-11.
Oh wow!
About the jury. She looked really marish, didn't she? I thought it was brave to be taking short odds about it. It sounds like I'm after timing, but
no, not in light of a filly with a long season like that, whose kind of form had started to taper off. It looked to me like you can excuse her pre-arc defeat, but she was a bit laboured in the arc, and this is complete after time. But I'd laid that bet all day long if I had 175 grand or whatever it is to lay, but which I don't actually.
Oh, good stuff. But yeah, look really marish in the straight, hanging all over the place. I don't think it was the ability to buy a beat. I think she's just gone off the board a bit. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with her. Ashada was actually a worse result than Albefora on the pitch. Still a decent winner in the book, so we're pretty happy with that. It was all going really well up to this point, and it was still going well in the next race when Palace Pier gets turned over by Baid.
Did you lay Baid,
Johnny?
Did you lay Baid?
We didn't lay Baid. Baid was a really good result on the pitch and was a really good result in the office. Palace Pier was the one that I wanted to be with. Any thoughts on the ride from Frankie, looking round and looking between the legs?
Yeah, it was probably overconfidence, wasn't it? And then you get Jim Crowley done for overuse of the whip as well, which kind of brings the whole whip rule into question because, he essentially won, albeit I think he won on the best horse by kind of maybe breaking the rules to an extent, but knowing that, he was going to get away with it. Frankie was probably overconfident, and I still think Baid's a better horse. I think the Muddlin nature of the race wouldn't have suited him. I mean, I don't know how good this horse could be. I still like he's had 6 starts. He's really only kind of getting into top racing now. Probably wants a 1 and 2 mile, a strongly run 1 and 2 mile. He's just so exciting.
Yeah, and I don't want to pick on Palace Pier too much, but I don't know if he's been overly impressive this year. I know he's
beating kind of?
Well, yeah, exactly. He's got the job done on nearly every start, but and he did run a really fair race here. He was staying onto the line. Frankie probably should have gone earlier in hindsight. Obviously, we saw John Gosden's comments after the race. He really wasn't happy with his ride, was he? But I'm just not sure if he's been right on his A game this year, or maybe that's just him.
When you look at the last two horses he's beaten, Lupi Fernandez and Poetic Flair, like it's, you know, and he was all out to be Poetic Flair at Deauville. It's good form. It's not remarkable form. He's probably, like, I don't know, he's probably usurped as the best miler in Europe at the moment now by a horse who to me wants a mile and two, if not further.
Yeah, we also have the tendency in horse racing that every year the top horse in each category, if they perform pretty well, we seem to put them on a pedestal up here, and like they are as good as their predecessors or better. Sometimes we need to accept that they're not, and that they're just below that, but they are the best of the bunch. It's weird that we do that in horse racing, because when we look at sports like football, it's quite obvious that if you think a team's winning the league, you say, well, this team's winning the league, but the opposition's not great, or they're just not as good a team. Whereas if we look at the Premier League now, we look at the teams, we say, right, these are the best teams in Europe. Like, these are the best teams that we've had in a while. When you look at Liverpool, City, Chelsea, when we look at those teams, they are the best teams, and the level that it takes to win the league now is higher than what it used to be. But when we look at horse racing, sometimes I know we've got ratings and stuff, but I feel like those ratings do get inflated. But we don't say to win this champion stakes this year, you've got to be at a higher level or a lower level. We just don't talk about that. We just say that, oh, what a performance, what a fantastic racehorse. Do you know what I mean? We don't look at it the same as we look at other sports, do we?
I know exactly what you're saying. We give them superlatives, but you know, I guess it is hard to weigh on year, even though I suppose in theory the sport should be progressing. Maybe not to the extent that football is, because there's so much human innovation there, and I guess they are horses, but it is a fair point, young Flynn.
Yeah. So that was that race. In terms of the pitch, we laid £9 at 7 to 4 Palace Piers. So decent cash punters, obviously very decent cash punters coming in. Wasn't great in terms of the price we laid, because it did go 6 to 4. But luckily the money stayed in the hod. But this is where it starts to go wrong for us on the pitch. The Champion Stakes, we laid £3 at 10 Seal Away.
Wow.
Did go off at 12, so you could look at the price and say that we've laid an okay bet there.
So you lose on a race where it's 12s, 6s and 40s with the first three.
Fantastic performance though. Was keen as well, really keen. Saw off multiple challenges. I always like horses when horses come to them, they see one off, okay, and then another horse comes in, they see them off. Mishrif, Dubai Honour, they kept coming to see the way just kept seeing them off, and run one pretty comfortably in the end for his great performance.
Bit of a proviso with the form, obviously, with the two big boys. You know, again, Mishrif apparently not handling the ground, never really looked himself. So there is that kind of proviso. But kudos to Jim Bulger as well, because in fairness to Max Sweeney, for the year he's had, it was a hell of a run on ground. It probably would have been a bit quick for him. Yeah,
and Dayar's probably just had a long season, hasn't he? Exactly. He's done the same in his last two runs, I know, in proper races, but he's kind of gone for home and looked like he's going to go really well, and then he's just kind of tied up and just fallen out the back of the telly, isn't he?
Exactly. He got the favourite beating the last as well.
We did, but I mean, this was a shocking result for us. Aldari 7 to 2 from 6 to 1. We laid £5 at 11 to 2 on the pitch. It was a terrible day on course. We did plenty of money, but a good winning day in the office thanks to snowfall. That Aldari, that was a really good performance as well. He was winning off a high mark. Top of my head, was he winning off at 107, 109 or something?
Yeah, and the Haggis boys in Clover on the day.
Yeah, so he could be a proper horse, and he was on the wrong side of the track as well. I say on the wrong side of the track. He was far clear on that side, and all the challenges were on the near side, so he could upgrade it again. So I think it was a proper performance from Aldari. But that was Ascot. That is pretty much, I know we've got Donny to talk about this weekend briefly, but in terms of the flat season, that's pretty much all she wrote, isn't it? Other than Doncaster this weekend. And we're on to the proper stuff now, Johnny.
We're on to the proper stuff, as you say. The Vertem Futurity Trophy Stakes obviously used to be known as the Race Post Trophy. It's going to be interesting because Alan Sweetman had an article in the Racing Post about Aidan O'Brien's year. By his standards, it hasn't been amazing. A lot of the horses that maybe you would have thought would have progressed into good horses didn't, apart from, say, Marcus Basilica. And his star 2-year-old, obviously, was Point Longsdale, who was absolutely battered at the Curragh by Native Trail. So all eyes were on Luxembourg, who looks an absolute machine. But this is kind of, I mean, if ever a race looks, he reminds me a bit of St. Nicholas Abbey, the way he races, who obviously won this race, and he's going to be something like even money. But I think Irish punters are going to absolutely pile into him on the basis that he is as good as he looked, albeit he has to beat very good horses. He's probably stepping up in grade. To me, he looks like he just has everything.
I mean, I think Johnny just said it all there. Johnny's Luxembourg's #1 fan by the sounds of it. So
it's beautiful to watch. He looks like he's kind of, I guess he's kind of like a guy that you get to play in your five-a-side and you don't know much about him and he hasn't done anything, but then he realizes that he just needs to win the game and he just turns it on like that, just like that. And he just does it with a swagger then and kind of says, yeah, I'm out of bed now. And that's the way he races, and he's obviously going to be a beautiful 3-year-old all going well. But this is the race that these Derby horses have gone into, and you know, he does have that bloodline kind of gone back to Monjou, I suppose, like St. Nicholas Abbey, and I think he's very, very good. It's going to be exciting. I think you're going to lay a lot of bets on him.
I think just in terms of potential, just going back to the football analogy, he's one of those when you're picking teams at school, he's always the first or second pick type of thing when you kind of pick him out in terms of potential.
Like yourself, son.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I was always down the line, unfortunately. Just in terms of quotes for next year, is 7-1 favourite for the Kazoo Derby. Native Trail, who we've obviously seen a fair bit of, is 8-1. Point Lonsdale 10-1 and 11 Bar. It's not favourite for the Guineas. Like you said, probably going to be a bit of a stayer. Native Trail's favourite there at 11-4. Carobus is 5-1. Then Luxembourg and Point Lonsdale both in there at 10-1. We haven't got prices just yet for the Vertem Futurity on Saturday, purely because we're recording this at 9:20 on Thursday morning, and 2-day 48-hour decks will be coming in this morning. So we'll have prices up for Cheltenham on Saturday and the Vertem Futurity at Doncaster probably about lunchtime today. So when this comes out. Just in terms of Cheltenham, we have got Cheltenham priced up for, we haven't got it priced up, but we have got it on site. Prices will be filtering through today for tomorrow. And one horse that has been a bit of interest in Antipost is for the 2-mile handicap on Saturday, the 888 handicap chase. That's before midnight. So just one to keep an eye on. Sam Thomas trains, I believe. I think he might run in the Million in Mind partnership syndicate. So that's one just to keep an eye on. Was around the 7-1 mark before midnight. So when decks come out, that may be a little bit shorter. Stolen Silver went in the same colours. I'm not sure if that one's going to be declared or not. So do just keep an eye on that one on Saturday. But that's probably it on the racing front, Johnny. We want to move over to footy.
Yeah, so it's been a fairly dramatic few days for Manchester United, involved in a 6-goal thriller and a 5-goal thriller, coming out the wrong side of one, the right side of the other. I think both games, neither of which I saw actually, but just reading into it, they are showing that there are a lot of cracks in this team, partly due to Ronaldo, but Ronaldo then is only basically doing what he can do himself, and he gets an amazing winner against Atalanta. We also had Liverpool winning twice and being, I mean, Mo Salah is possibly the best player in the world at the moment, but how's it been for the firm over the last few days? Lots of drama.
Yeah, so just starting with the Premier League, and I feel like this is going to become the Mo Salah show a little bit, which I'd imagine you're going to be a fan of, Johnny, being a Liverpool faithful.
Indeed.
Liverpool into 130 from 4-1 for the title after the 5-0 drubbing at the weekend. Man United out to 33-1 from 16 after their 4-2 defeat to Leicester. So a couple of really decent moves there. Obviously, City still head the market, tips on.
Yeah, they won't be winning. Man United won't be winning any league anyway.
Yeah. Salah shortened the top goal scorer 15-8 from 5-2, so quite a big move there for top goal scorer. Lukaku out to 4-1 from 11-4. Imagine that could get bigger after the injury last night. I'm not sure when he's going to be back. Ronaldo 9-2 from 3-1, so they're all drifting, and Salah's coming in all the way. Salah Player of the Year now 7-4. That's the biggest mover of the week.
Wow.
Is Mo Salah to be Player of the Year? There's been loads of talk about Mo Salah this week, isn't there? I know Cara and Neville were talking about him as well. Just saying that he's probably the best player in the world at the moment. So he is into 7-4 to win that. We've also got a Mo Salah special, Johnny. So Mo Salah to break Jamie Vardy's record of scoring 12 consecutive Premier League matches. He's currently scored in 6 consecutive, 33-1, and that's in the outright section on the website. So if you want a little fun bet and he's in the fantasy team, he wants to keep scoring week on week. There's one.
That's the type of bet that I think is a great bet in the betting shop, because a lot of punters they're either not mathematically aligned or they just couldn't be arsed doing the odds on it, and they're like, yeah, he's
That's
scoring
like
in
me.
every game. Yeah, he's going to score in the next 6. Easy money, 33-1. It should be like 3-1 or something. Obviously, he doesn't. But then again, in the form Mo Salah's in, I actually wouldn't put it past him. And his goal against Watford, like, what can you say?
He's just unbelievable, isn't he? I went for a beer with one of my pals. I'm actually from Watford way, and I went for a beer with him back at home the other day. And he was in the Watford crowd. He's a season ticket holder, and he was saying that some of the Watford fans after the Mo Salah goal was standing and applauding, and he actually took umbrage with it. He's like, "How can we go 1-0 down or 2-0 down or whatever, and we're applauding the other team?" But he just has that impact. He's just so good that you just have to appreciate it. And I actually quite like to see it. So I disagree with Tommy there. I'm going to call him out on the Zoom.
There you go, Tommy.
Yeah, take that one. Yeah, it's all about Mo Salah. We've also got the first to 10 goals market still up on the website. Mo Salah, again, heads the market here. He's on 7 now, so he's 6-4. Jamie Vardy's also there at 11-4. So if you wanted to take Jamie Vardy and just hope that he gets those 3 goals quicker, there might be a bit of value there taking the 11-4 against 6-4 Salah. Mikel Antonio's there at 8-1. He's on 5. Sadio Mane's also on 5. He's in a great run of form, so isn't he, Sadio Mane?
Yes.
8-1 on 5, and then you're 10-1 par. So a good few markets to get stuck into there in terms of the Premier League. In terms of the Champions League, we have had a few changes in the outrights. We've had some in-play carnage last night. It was all going on, especially with the Man United game. That was a terrible result for us last night. We were waiting on some big hackers coming in, and we just had Man United that needed to complete them. When Atalanta were 2-1 up as well until quite late. Really, really frustrating for us last night to see that, and even worse to see Ronaldo do it. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, Johnny, you must have been hating it, but as a neutral, well, I wasn't liking it either.
Well, no, but like I don't know what Liverpool fans now, and I'm speaking maybe off the cuff here, but I don't know, man. Like Manchester United, they haven't really been a rival, a proper rival, and you're looking at them now, but it's like, well, they haven't won anything in a long time, and the Ronaldo thing, there's no doubt it's going to cause a problem for Solskjaer. It's just it's causing so many issues in terms of their pressing and everything else. But like Man United realistically have no chance of winning the league, whereas Liverpool do. And it's not that, I don't think that rivalry is what it was because of that. And Man United they're in a place where, fair enough, they're a good side, but they're not really the rival they were to Liverpool, I would argue.
No, I think you are giving a bit of a sly needle there, though, Johnny, saying that they're not rivals anymore. I do like that.
They're obviously rivals, but it's not like, I don't think Liverpool fans would be overly energised by how Man United get on the Champions League at the moment, put it that way.
No, possibly, but I still like to think the Liverpool fan. I mean, one of my best mates in the trading room is a Liverpool fan, and I can tell you last night when I worked late with him, he wasn't very happy, but that might should be him. In terms of some movements, Ajax 22-1 from 40 after beating Dortmund 4-0. Who would have predicted that one? So they were the big movers in the market. Liverpool 13-2 from 15-2 after beating Atletico 3-2. And the mover in the top goal scorer market, you guessed it, Mohamed Salah into 4-1 to be the top goal scorer in the Champions League. So those were just the movers, but United were the really poor result for us last night, getting those ACCAs done. Unfortunately, really, really not good result in the football, but we move on to this week and hopefully we can see a bit of change in fortune.
Yeah, they're nothing if not entertaining anyway, although I imagine a lot of United fans are kind of wondering where this is going to go. There's so many good players, but they can't play them all at the one time, and it's an interesting one for Solskjaer. I think he's probably admitting that his job is under a little bit more scrutiny than not, but no better man than Ronaldo to get a late winner, as Ireland saw in Faro that time. The NBA...
Just on Solskjaer quickly, yes. Johnny, sorry to interrupt. We were actually pricing up during the game last night. We were pricing up who's going to come into United next, and we were thinking about putting the market up and getting a tweet out and being like trying to be reactive and stuff like that if they were going to get beat. And then obviously they've gone and scored 2, they've won 3-2. We've not put the market up.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think it might be right market, wrong day though. Just I'm not sure you'll have to wait that long. It's just I don't know. I like Solskjaer. I don't think he's the worst coach in the world. I just think there are too many problems down the track. But I do wonder with Man United, and I wonder the way that football club is run. And I think this is crazy to say, or made sound crazy. I'm not sure that worried about results on the pitch. I think the club is ticking over, making loads of money, and the brand is good. Ronaldo is there. As long as they tip away and get into the Champions League, everything's kind of grand. I actually think they're not the only club now where, as long as the books are being balanced, things are happy enough taking along. And And then you've Newcastle as well, which we can talk about another day. But scandalous things happening there, and a lot of sympathy for obviously the ex-Red Steve Bruce, who I was actually looking at his goal scoring stats. One season he got like 15 goals in the Premier League or something. Steve Bruce, bit before your time, son. But we must move on. NBA has started.
Yeah, NBA started. We've got all the specials on site, so all the NBA awards and all that type of stuff. Let me just get to the. Let me just see where the outrights are looking. Just bear with me, just 2 seconds. It has actually started this week, the NBA. The boys do love it here with all the American sports. Brooklyn Nets favourites to win this year, 23-10. LA Lakers in there at 4-1. Milwaukee Bucks 17-2. Golden State at 10-1, and then with 14 bar. We've got the Eastern Conference, Western both up as well. LA Lakers favourites to win the Western Conference, as they so normally are, 21-10. And obviously Brooklyn Nets are 21-20 to win the Eastern Conference. We've got all the division winners there as well. Just in terms of specials, so to win the regular season MVP, Luka Doncic is 4-1. He's actually the cover of the game this year. Giannis for Milwaukee Bucks is in there at 13-2. Joe Embiid is in there at 7-1, along with Kevin Durant. And then Steph Curry is in there at 15-2. We've got Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Sixth Man of the Year. So plenty of specials to get stuck into in the NBA. And we'll talk about more about the NBA as it kind of goes on throughout the year. But it's only just started, but something to get stuck into there in terms of American sports. And then probably just one more thing to touch on is golf.
Yeah, so he said he felt like quitting and the last night of the Ryder Cup or something like that. Did his loyalists, did the McIlroy loyalists who back him every week and end up disappointed? Did they persevere?
They didn't. It was actually a decent result for us. It's a weird one, Rory McIlroy. It's really hard to get right as a punter. Typically hard to get right. If people are followers of Ben Coley, and we see lots of people following Ben Coley with us, who writes for the Sporting Life. He actually calls out some of our markets sometimes, which is great to see. We kind of do different markets, especially around the Ryder Cup, which has obviously just been and gone. But Glenn's fantastic at doing all the different kind of derivative markets. He finds it really hard to get right. He's one of the best judges out there, and he was kind of persevering with McIlroy last year, and then as soon as he doesn't put him up, he goes and wins or goes close. It was really, really good last week. He's been working with a new coach since the Ryder Cup. And he said something along the lines of he's just in recent months and maybe the last year he's been trying to be something that he's not. Yeah. I think he was trying to go to the fade with his driver to try and control that. I think he was trying to get more distance out of his game after watching people like Bryson. He was trying to be something that he wasn't. He's just gone back to his roots, and he's obviously won this tournament in pretty convincing fashion, to be honest. It was a desert shootout. It wasn't the best watch for me because of the golf course, but big movers in the markets for Rory McIlroy. 12-1 for all majors now. That's not to win them all, to win each one. So he was around the 18-1 mark for the Masters, now 12-1. That's obviously not until April, but he'd be probably the biggest mover. As soon as someone like Rory McIlroy wins a tournament, he comes from the 20 mark or the 16 mark straight into that 12-1 mark, similar to something that Dustin Johnson would do or Justin Thomas. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of interest in Rory McIlroy as the tournaments kind of ramp up towards the start of next year. We do have some WGCs coming up. The Zozo Championship's currently on at the moment. I think Matsuyama goes really well in that. But yeah, the next big tournaments are when they go to Dubai in the European Tour, and also when they get the WGCs going, and then we've not got the majors till next year. But I'm sure the Rory McIlroy punters will be back on the train with him in weeks to come.
Horse to look out for the national hunt season.
Horse to look out for.
While you're thinking there, I'm going to give my mate Mozzie, Gavin Cromwell's horse, who's probably going to end up running the Supreme. He's kind of flat-bred horse. He's run on the flat. He's impressed in a bumper. He was very impressive, actually, beating a highly rated flat horse called Barbados in the maiden hurdle quite recently. But I spoke to Gavin, did a stable tour with him afterwards, and thinks very highly of the horse. So you could go a lot further wrong than have a few quid in him each way at 25s or whatever for the Supreme. So there you go.
There you go. That's one for Johnny. One from me, a bit left field, would be Oscar Elite. Ran really well in the, I want to say, Albert Bartlett last year. It's actually entered, I don't know if we haven't got final decks yet, but it's due to run at Cheltenham on Saturday in I think it's in the 3 mile novice chase. It looks like he's going to be built like a chaser. He had a similar profile to what's the Tizard horse that won the Albert Bartlett?
Kilbrick and Storm.
Yeah, that's one. Kilbrickenstone had a similar profile to him. I know Kilbrickenstone didn't go on to anything amazing, but I really like the look of Oscar Elite. So that's just one a bit left field. Just sticking with the Colin Tizard theme as well. Wouldn't surprise me if they own the big breakaway at the Ladbrokes Trophy. They go that route with Nate River, who's actually entered in a hurdle this weekend, I believe, or next week. But it wouldn't surprise me if they take him to the Ladbrokes Trophy. There's not many places priced up with that at the moment, but I think he's probably just one to keep an eye on for that race. Although I think Enrilo's favourite for that. But I think the big breakaway for the Ladbrokes Trophy and keep an eye on Oscar Elite for the season. The two Tizard ones, we'll see how kind of Joe Tizard gets on training those, even though they're obviously still under Colin, but we'll see how they go this season.
Wonderful, Flynn. Thanks for your time.
No problem. And if you are at Cheltenham, do come and see us on the pitch. We're on the rail for both days. Plenty of suites available. Do come and see us. I did get a bit of a drubbing for running out of suites on Saturday at Champions Day, so we've put that right. But making sure we've got the suites. Ben certainly let me know about it. He was on one on Saturday and too right, to be honest, for not having enough suites. So we've got plenty available for Cheltenham this week. So do come and see us. There'll be a suite with every bet for you punters out there.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can leave it on any other note than that. It's all sweet with the Star Sports guys on track, and it's great to be back on track as well. And we will be on track again next week, and we will be back with Trader Chat.